So you're thinking about moving to Northern Virginia, and when you want to know, why would I not move to Northern Virginia? What are the cons of Northern Virginia? So in this video, I am going to explain all the cons of living here in the DC area in Northern Virginia. Before I get started, are you going to subscribe to my channel?
Yes.
Are you going to text me at the number below or shoot me an email if you're thinking about buying or selling a house in the Virginia area?
Yes.
Great. So as always, my name is Chris Colgan. I am a real estate expert here in the state of Virginia and the DC area. I'm with EXP Realty, powered by Place, and I know all things Northern Virginia. That's all we talk about here on this channel. So definitely subscribe. So maybe you're getting transferred here to Northern Virginia from some beautiful place like California, Texas, or Florida. Maybe you might be working at Micron or Microsoft or the new Amazon in Arlington. But what are the cons of living here in Northern Virginia? Why should you not move here? I am going to tell you why, as someone who has lived in Northern Virginia his whole life, which is unbelievable. Most people haven't. But let's get into the list of why you should not move here, okay? Number one is going to be the weather, which I complain about all the time. So right now it's the fall season, and over the weekend it was 70 and sunny, and I went to a local brewery, was having fun. Everybody was loving life. The sun was out, the kids were playing, and today it is dreary and 50 degrees out. So in the fall, it goes up and down all the time. Like, you know that weather where you walk out and you have your jacket on in the morning and then it's 80 degrees at 4 o'clock and you're like dying of heat exhaustion? That's how it is here in Virginia. The winter gets really cold. Although we don't get much snow here, we do get a couple inches, and when we do, the whole area freaks out and everything closes. People literally ramstack the stores for milk and bread.
It's a madhouse. The bread and milk hysteria is taking over the country.
It can get really cold here during, especially January, February through March. A lot of people head down towards Florida if they're retired. Spring is by far my favorite season here. Very beautiful. Weather is pretty much always perfect. We do get a lot of rain. And in the summer, I go down to Lake Anna a lot, but it can be really hot here in Northern Virginia. It gets hotter than Florida and some other places that I go to during the summer. It can be up to 100 degrees, but the weather here is really wonky. So that is definitely a reason that you might not want to live here.
Go get your bread and milk.
Number two is going to be property taxes. Property taxes here can be pretty high. My house, I pay around $9,000 a year here. We also have state income tax as well. So property taxes here can be pretty high, but I have seen some clients that have moved from New York and New Jersey or Connecticut and told me, man, this is a really good deal on the property taxes. They're actually not that bad. The other thing is too, the homeowner's insurance here is not crazy expensive. I had some clients the other day from Florida that were telling me they were paying a lot. My parents pay a lot for their house in Florida, but here I pay around like $2,500 a year. Knock on wood, I've only had to use it once. We had a really bad windstorm come through here and took a bunch of people's roofs off, and that happened to my house. So I was able to get a new roof. But as you know, like, we don't really get like bad weather here. So, but the other thing I'll tell you is we have this crazy car tax that come October is a personal property tax, and I just got mine for my vehicles and it was $1,500. So it was a little bit of a sticker shock to actually have to pay that, and it used to be a lot more. My grandfather was a senator here, and he was the one who actually spearheaded to get that knocked down some, but it is still about $1,500 for my vehicles, and I'm not driving around a Lamborghini or a brand new Tesla like some people are. So, you know, it's not like my cars were crazy expensive, but that can also be a downside of living here in Northern Virginia. Number three is going to be the houses can be pretty expensive. The closer you get into DC, naturally, it is going to be a lot more expensive. Like Arlington, Alexandria, the McLean area is one of the richest areas in the United States. Might be the richest, to be honest, outside of like a Beverly Hills or a Manhattan. But those places, houses can be in the millions of dollars. Even a small condo could run you about $1 million. And of course, it's going to have some high condo fees as well on top of that. But even out in the suburbs, you know, a single family is going to run you $600,000 to $800,000. But the upside is the wages here are typically pretty high compared to the rest of the country. Another thing is though too, the rent is really high, which it didn't used to be like that, but the rent has gone up, which has made it more affordable to buy a house even in these like high interest rate times. But anywhere around Northern Virginia, the housing prices are pretty expensive, and typically it's going to take a 2-person income household to afford to live here. That is what I have seen for sure, like throughout my real estate career here in Northern Virginia, just high housing prices. But one other thing I want to touch on before I end that part is the housing prices here always pretty much go up. They always say if the DC area goes down, because we're so government reliant, the rest of the country goes down with it. So our housing prices here consistently raise. You know, it's not like some of the Midwest states or some of the southern states where the prices just don't go up as much. Ours consistently rise here. All right, number 4, toll roads, which can get a little confusing. We have a thing here called Easy Pass. We have a lot of hot lanes, and what that is a separate area of lanes that you can go, and they have a bidding system. So the more traffic that is going on it, the more expensive it will be. So obviously if you're heading to the DC area at 7 a.m., it's going to be pretty expensive. Same if you're driving back home from DC and you're heading out to the suburbs at 5 o'clock, it's going to be very expensive. But those are kind of a new thing here. We also have like what's called like the Dallas toll road, and that's like a road just for people to go to Dallas Airport. That doesn't cost you anything, but you can go through that as well and use an Easy Pass. One thing I will say is if you are having like HOV, like maybe you have a coworker riding with you, you can flip a switch on your Easy Pass to HOV, and their camera system will know you do have the 2 people in there, and it won't charge you a fee. But right out here in like Western Prince William County, they just added new toll lanes out here as well, and that's really helped alleviate traffic, but it can be expensive to commute. We do have what's called the VRE train system as well, but that can be $300 to $500 a month to get a train ride there and back to DC. So just keep that in mind. The toll roads can be expensive.
Bales.
Number 5 reason why you shouldn't move here is if you're a big sports fan. We don't have any professional teams here because we're so close to DC and Baltimore and Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and all these other places. So anytime they've ever tried to put a sports team here in Northern Virginia, everyone fights it. But the one thing I will say is we do have the Commanders here based in Ashburn, Virginia. Their stadium's in Maryland. They have been awful since Dan Snyder bought the team about 25 years ago. But the Capitals are consistently good, and then the Nationals, they just won the World Series, but we don't really have any sports teams at all. We have a couple minor league teams, but if you're a big sports fan, the state of Virginia doesn't even have one. I don't know why, which boggles my mind. I think we're the biggest state without a sports team, but you can easily just go into DC. We do have a ton of concert venues and things like that. There's plenty to do. Another thing, probably the biggest complaint I hear all the time is the traffic here in Northern Virginia. And it's just a way of life. You basically have to like live your life around it and decide if you're gonna sit in the traffic or commute and try to do the Easy Pass or something like that. But just going anywhere can be a hassle. Even like on a Saturday at 2 o'clock heading into DC, the traffic can be terrible, like going into Arlington or anything like that. And all it takes is for VDOT to do one little lane closure and do a couple like, they'll literally, I don't know why, they will literally spray the lane at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday, and then traffic is backed up for miles, or God forbid somebody gets into a bumper wreck.
Dang it.
Another road that's horrendous is 95. When people call me about that work at the Pentagon, they're getting transferred there, Fort Belvoir, they'll ask me about Woodbridge and Stafford, Fredericksburg, and I tell them all the time, great areas, I love the people, love the communities, just definitely check on that Route 95. But those are going to be the reasons why you would not want to move here. One other thing I will tell you about is we get some bad allergy seasons as well. So if you are allergic to a lot of things like pollen, stuff like that, just definitely keep that in mind. If I don't take an Allegra D every day, I would be stuffed up, sneezing all day. So I have to take one daily just for my sinuses and my allergies. That's a huge problem here. For sure. I just want to make sure I touch on that because a lot of people do ask me about that, believe it or not. But as always, subscribe to my channel where we talk about all things here at Northern Virginia related. And if you are thinking about buying or selling a home, hit me up at the number below. You can message me anytime. People text me sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning, which I'm wondering what you people are doing. But you know what? People text me all the time, ask me questions. I write them back, and I've worked with plenty of people through my YouTube channel. And honestly, it's where most of my business comes from outside of people I know and love. So definitely subscribe and hit me up if you have any real estate questions, and we will see you at the top or from the top of Northern Virginia.